Straight up and down, it's the 6 and the Jets. Shouts out to the bros, hold it down. St. Paul, Minnesota. Stand up! Stand up! You ain't the bros, you ain't the fam, you ain't the Jets, you not the 6, you need to scram. I was outside from the mud to the more, that's how I was born, If you ain't bleed for the block like that, you cannot stand on the corner I'm on, We grew up on pressure and power, while you was at home on the browser. Typing up tells you was never involved. We had to wrestle with karma, heart full of ice but the metal was warm. We had to fight just to keep us from mourning. We had to grind, commit crimes just for earning. You never stayed at a sentence, knowing your dog might never come back. You never felt resentment when someone you trusted was talking to jacks. You ain't the risk, you just reaping rewards. You only pop when the cameras record. We had to hush when they stepped in the door. You had curfew, we crept in at 4. You don't know about the code we was raised on. Put a name on the wall, then spin the block where the ops stayed on. Everyone step as we on go time, never afraid to go to war. You ain't the bros, you ain't the fam, you ain't the strokes. You not the 6, you need to scram. I was outside from the mud to the more, this how I was born. If you ain't bleed for the block like that, you cannot stand on the corner I'm on, We from the Midwest, yeah, we don't need a flex, no. We know what is up, know who's a clown, you don't wanna test us. Big boy talk, but they act like clones. I done took L's and stand on those. Turn that pain into patched up notes, deep scars and bones. We built this off our own, still ride for the bros. Say our name in the wrong tone, you might not make it home. Yeah, don't fuck with the 6, you can't fuck with the grip, not even Jets. Whole block know how it goes, we still outside 10 toes going for bro. Young bulls wild, anything goes. I seen friend turn fast in the foes, but the circle stay tight, there's homies over these hoes. It's Minnesota, St. Paul, yeah, we weather that storm. That's right. It's the Jets and the 6, we gone like whoa. You ain't the bros, you ain't the fam, you ain't the bro. You not the 6, you need to scram. I was outside from the mud to the more, this how I was born, If you ain't bleed for the block like that, you cannot stand on the corner I'm on, You ain't the bros, you ain't the fam, you ain't the bro. You not the 6, you need to scram. I was outside from the mud to the more, this how I was born, If you ain't bleed for the block like that, you cannot stand on the corner I'm on,